Juicy Couture was an iconic part of early 2000s fashion. Its velour tracksuits and matching oversized bags were everything and everywhere. But Juicy went from making $605 million in sales at its peak in 2008 to being sold for less than a third of that 5 years later. So, what happened? Juicy's story begins with these two ladies, Jayla Nash Taylor and Pamela Skice Levy. They met while working at a Los Angeles boutique in 1988. When Nash Taylor became pregnant, she couldn't find any fashionable maternity clothing. As a solution, she started making maternity pants out of her husband's jeans, which inspired her and Skice Levy to start a maternity clothing line, Travis Jeans for the Baby and You. The pair's stylish maternity jeans took off, despite their $89 price tag. By the early 1990s, it expanded into a full maternity line. But around 1994, after feeling like they lost touch with the maternity market, the pair decided to pivot to something new, developing the perfect luxury V-neck shirt. Nash Taylor and Skice Levy focused on 4 things: fit, fabric, comfort, and color. They both tried on their samples to make sure the V-neck covered the right part of the arm, didn't plunge too deep, and overall made your body look as good as possible. Things male designers fitting t-shirts on size 0 models maybe weren't taking into consideration. After perfecting their design, they released it in 26 colors, under their new label, Juicy Couture. When Juicy first started in 1995, the economy was beginning to recover from the 1990 to 1991 recession, and consumers were hungry for expensive, or at least expensive-sounding, products. So Nash Taylor and Skice Levy wanted the brand name to convey luxury. They also loved the irony of naming their casual t-shirt line Couture. Juicy Couture quickly grew in popularity and expanded to include knit tops, accessories, and a successful Juicy jeans line. But it wasn't the full-fledged lifestyle brand its founders wanted it to be, yet. Nash Taylor and Skice Levy looked to the brands they grew up with during the 60s and 70s for ideas. Both thought terry cloth was the most amazing 1970s fabric and came up with a line of tops and bottoms made from it. The silhouette of what would become Juicy's signature tracksuit was created with the same purpose as the original Juicy V-neck, to be as flattering as possible. The zip-up hoodie was designed with front pockets to hide any stomach pooch and cut with an hourglass shape to nip in your waist. Nash Taylor and Skice Levy also added custom hardware, a J-pull zipper that branded every tracksuit as uniquely Juicy Couture. The tracksuit bottoms were originally made with an underwear elastic, but when that proved to be too loose, Juicy's founders switched to a quick cord they'd use for their maternity line. It worked perfectly. Juicy Couture released its now iconic tracksuits in 2001, and they became a phenomenon. Not to mention, at $155, Juicy Couture's tracksuits weren't cheap, but they were accessible.
The price point was a little bit high for essentially a glorified sweatshirt, but with a little bit of midriff showing, the cool bootleg, and seeing celebrities and some oversized sunglasses wearing it out and about, it kind of met that balance of just within reach pricing and somewhat of a luxury item pulled into one.
And it was seeing celebrities wear Juicy Couture that really drove the brand's success. Around the time Juicy Couture launched, tabloid celebrities like Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan were becoming a national obsession. Tabloids like Us Weekly and People were documenting everything America's favorite stars were doing. And Juicy was able to take advantage of it. Because its founders didn't have the funds for traditional marketing, they got creative, gifting tracksuits to celebrities. While this is pretty common today, Skice Levy and Nash Taylor were one of the first to do it. They didn't find success overnight, but eventually, Juicy's tracksuits were being seen on all the right celebrities.
The attraction to celebrity culture in the early 2000s is really what contributed Juicy to become such a popular brand. It really was the height of celebrities. They're just like us, seeing Britney Spears go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks in her Juicy Couture tracksuit, seeing Paris Hilton shopping all over town in her Juicy Couture tracksuit.
Juicy's founders even kept a photo wall of every celebrity who wore their tracksuit. Soon, Juicy Couture was exclusively sold at upscale department stores like Bergdorf Goodman and Saks Fifth Avenue. In 2003, Juicy Couture was purchased by Liz Claiborne, now known as Kate Spade & Company, for $226 million to be paid over a 5-year period. Juicy was colorful, fun, and covered in logos during a time when people couldn't get enough of showing off the brands they were buying and wearing.
It wouldn't be a Juicy product without the Juicy label or insignia or logo of some kind.
It makes people happy. Juicy's it's a happy brand. People love it.
Net sales nearly doubled from 2006 to 2007. By 2008, Juicy Couture had 100 stores, generating a total of $605 million in sales. The brand also expanded to include jewelry and a successful fragrance line with Elizabeth Arden. But then, the recession hit. While most brands struggled following the recession, Juicy Couture's flashy branding particularly stopped resonating with customers.
So during the 2008 recession, fashion was at a point where the it bag was really not an it thing anymore. It felt a little bit too gregarious, over the top, and proud in the wrong way. So things started to recede. Not that people weren't shopping, but they weren't buying things that were so blatant as to what they were and how much they cost.
The recession inspired a movement towards minimalism, which was pretty much the opposite of what Juicy Couture embodied.
Juicy as a label was all about that flashiness and that fun, and so there was a somberness to fashion, a seriousness after 2008, and it really wasn't on brand for Juicy.
Sales fell 11% year over year in 2009. In 2010, founders Skice Levy and Nash Taylor left the company, citing a loss of ability to help their brand evolve. Sale numbers continued to drop as Juicy failed to keep up with the growing contemporary fashion market. While labels like Alexander Wang and Theory quickly pivoted to add more pieces to their collections, Juicy didn't. In 2013, Juicy Couture was officially sold to Authentic Brands Group for $195 million. The company has an eclectic portfolio, including the licensing rights for the estates of Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe. The group announced plans to close all of Juicy Couture's US stores, but said it would reopen 5 to 10 as it rebuilds the brand. ABG later made a deal with discount retailer Kohl's to sell Juicy branded products, effectively abandoning the brand's veneer of luxury for many loyal fans. Despite its fall from department store to discount bin, Juicy Couture has been angling for a comeback for years. A 2016 collaboration with cult fashion brand Vetements re-sparked interest and lent Juicy some street cred. Kylie Jenner even posted a picture wearing a pricey tracksuit from the collection. In 2017, Juicy Couture appointed Hollywood stylist Jamie Mizrahi as its new creative director. The brand debuted its new collection with a New York Fashion Week party with OG Juicy Couture lover and living brand embodiment Paris Hilton. Pieces from the collection were available on Juicy's website, as well as Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's, with prices ranging from $30 to $400. This marked an upscale pivot for the brand after being sold at Kohl's since 2014. In 2018, Juicy Couture released its first ever runway collection to show pieces from its main contemporary line, Juicy Couture Black Label. It also released 2 new cosmetic collections, which have been met with varying degrees of excitement. As for whether we'll be seeing Juicy's tracksuit everywhere again,
I think they could capitalize on those customers that were in their teens or late teens when the brand was popular. Now those women are moms and they want something comfortable but pulled together. It's quite possible that the tracksuit could be that item.
Plus, Juicy Couture could fit right into the athleisure market that's continuing to dominate the fashion industry. And with so many other early 2000s fashion trends coming back, who knows? 2020 could be Juicy Couture's year.